Hello fellow YouTubers and welcome. Today I'm looking at the Commonwealth light cruiser Uganda. Now there's something very familiar about this ship and I know exactly what it is. It's a Fiji, isn't it? Minus one of the rear turrets. It looks like a Fiji. It definitely looks like a reskinned Fiji. Let's have a look. There's the Fiji with the extra turret on the back. And here's Uganda. Okay, so pretty much the same class of ship, and I assume that the Royal Navy must have sold a few of these to the Commonwealth and made a comfortable profit out of it. Okay, let's look at the armor layout. So, she's a light cruiser, 16mm on the front, 16mm on the back. Her capital, or her citadel, sits a little above the waterline, a little bit more so than the Fijis. If we look at the Fijis, and if we look at the Ugandas, so a little easier to citadel in my opinion, but both ships are light cruisers and will citadel quite adequately if you shoot them in the right place. She's got an auxiliary room armor there of 114mm. That's nice to have. Might ricochet a few shells off that if you're angled. And the rest of this armor is 19mm. The superstructure is 10mm. I'll put the nose back on. And let's have a look at the equipment. So, in slot 1, I'm using main armaments modification 1. In slot 2, I'm using engine room protection. Although, if you've got the coal, I would recommend hydroacoustic search modification 1, because the hydroacoustic search only lasts 2 minutes. So with the add-on, that'd be an extra 20%. So 2 minutes and I don't know. Let's see, another 24 seconds. So that extra time, those extra seconds might spot that torpedo spread that was headed your way just as your normal hydro would have run out. So probably worth it, I'd say. Is it worth a coal? Probably. Okay, she gets crawling smoke, which is an interesting one. You want to do quarter speed. If you go any faster than quarter speed, the smoke won't keep up with you. In reverse, the smoke doesn't keep up with you either. So when you're reversing, you need to feather the reverse, meaning reverse, then stop, reverse, then stop, reverse, then stop. And that should give you the quarter speed in reverse you need to stay within the smoke screen. Crawling smoke is useful. It lasts a couple of minutes, which is nice, but the cooldown between uses is 160 seconds. So bear that in mind. With the build I'm using, you get 4 of these, which is very good indeed. And of course 4 hydroacoustic searches and 4 submarine surveillance consumables, because she gets submarine surveillance. Oh yes. Along with other cruisers like the Zao and the Venezia and lines of that nature, the light cruiser line, Japanese light cruiser line, she gets submarine surveillance. 7 kilometers isn't that far. To put that in perspective, the range of the submarine surveillance on the U-190 is 9 kilometers and it lasts 60 seconds. This only lasts 20 seconds and it's 7 kilometers. I'm not too sure about the reasoning behind that, but it is what it is. Now, on the subject, why have we got 2 consumables? In World War II, it was quite common to use hydro to spot submarines. However, Wargaming has decided that the spotting range with hydro is only 2 kilometers. And why this is, I have no idea. They've decided to add this extra consumable. I'll leave that with Wargaming to explain it, because I'm baffled, absolutely baffled, as to why they came up with this decision. However, it is there and it is what it is. I mean, the hydro lasts again for 2 minutes plus 20 seconds on the submarine surveillance. Game balancing reasons, no doubt. Okay, anyway, what did I put in slot 3? I put aiming systems modification 1 to improve the gun's dispersion, and in slot 4, propulsion modification 1, because unlike the Fiji, this ship isn't very quick, so it needs the extra acceleration. Royal Navy acceleration is not present in any of the Commonwealth cruisers, although it is present in every single Royal Navy ship. And yes, I know they look the same, but we clearly sold them the cheaper models without the Royal Navy acceleration on them. So use propulsion modification 1 in slot 4. Also, another thing to note is that Fiji has heels. Another reason why I think the Fiji is an excellent ship. It's 4 turrets and heels. And the smoke lasts a long time. It's not crawling smoke, but it's good duration. Uganda's crawling smoke is an interesting concept. Okay, so let's have a look at the guns. There is a main difference here between the guns. Of course, you get less of them. It's a 9-gunner as opposed to the 12-gunner Fiji. However, those 9 guns reload in 6.6 seconds, whereas the Fiji's something like 8.2. The switching time is 4 seconds, so the guns are quite lively, quite quick to fire, which is good. We like that. 30-second turn to turn 180 degrees. Bit slow. More on that later. Dispersion 130 meters, again with aiming mod. And the high explosive rounds have a fire chance of 8% and do 2,100 damage. 8%? I think it might be a little bit higher, and I'm really hoping Wargaming don't notice and hotfix that, because quite frankly, this ship needs something to make it stand out from the Fiji. She's got AP as well. The AP does fraction less, just a smidgen less damage than the Fiji's. 2,850 as opposed to 3,000 on the Fiji. But don't forget the reload time is somewhat quicker to make up for it. Okay, she's got a pretty decent spread of torpedoes. She gets three torpedoes a side with a range of 12 kilometers. This I like as well. I think the torpedoes are very good, very usable. They do 15,000 damage, 15,433 to be precise, have a reasonable speed of 62 knots, detection range of 1.3 kilometers, and a reload time of 96 seconds. So the torpedoes are quite good, quite strong for a light cruiser. Her airstrike is where she shines, and against submarines she gets 3 available flights, which drop one depth charge each, and have a range of 8 kilometers. Not bad, reasonable, usable. However, the poor Fiji, just to give perspective, has to drop her depth charges out of the back, so she literally needs to be on top of the submarine to actually depth charge it. So that's where the Uganda shines in anti-submarine warfare situations. Which is strange, because I spent all day yesterday, playing the Uganda, trying to get a match to showcase this ship, and every time either there were no subs or there was one sub, and every time there was one sub, do you know where that sub was? It was in the exact opposite corner of the map to where I spawned. It's like the matchmaker wanted to be damn sure that the Uganda never met the submarine. So I was literally in opposite corners. We were literally in opposite corners, so I never got a chance to use the ASW. I am going to showcase this ship, but the match that's coming up after this brief review is going to be all about surviving in a tier 9 matchup, because I got some pretty dreadful matchmaking. You're in a tier 7 ship. How the hell are you supposed to compete with the tier 9s? I'll show you. Coming up after this review, I'll show you. So stay tuned and don't look away. Don't click away. Okay, so let's look at the build. So captain build for this ship. Okay, line 1, gun feeder. Just switch shells nice and quickly, because you have HE, it's very good, but there will be times when you want to do some citadel damage and just quickly switch to the AP. Okay, line 2, consumable enhancements skill. With this, we can improve the action time of the hydroacoustic search, the surveillance radar, consumable action time, the smoke generation, consumable action, and the engine boost. You get the idea. It just enhances your consumables by a further 10%. Then in line 3, superintendent. And then line 4, concealment expert. So that's your first 10 points. After that, you'd go adrenaline rush. Then you'd go survivability expert. So what do you do with the last 5 points? Okay, well, recommended heavy HE and sap shells. Not for the faint-hearted though, because it will increase your detectability somewhat. Another 15% on that 10.1 I showed you. Then grease the gears, because guns are a little slow to turn. And then finally, consumables specialist, which of course gives you a quicker reload time on those consumables. Alternatively, you could boost your ASW, or your anti-submarine warfare, and your rather average, I'd say that's very average, AA, by taking this pick, AA defense and ASW expert. And if you're okay with the gun rotations, you could then take consumable specialist as your final pick. If you're not okay with that, take grease the gears instead. Now, the reason I picked this is because when there are planes and you're trying to shoot them down, your consumables preparation and reload time gets buffed by 50%. So you'll get your crawling smoke back quicker. You'll get your submarine surveillance back quicker. You'll get your hydro back quicker. I think those are all good things to have. I'm also fairly sure that the AA might actually shoot a few planes down with this pick. And more importantly, you're an anti-submarine light cruiser. Your airstrike depth charge damage will be enhanced by 15%, and your depth charge damage will be enhanced by 15%. So the airstrikes will be 15% stronger. So I'd recommend this as well. It's up to you how you want to do it, but I wouldn't ignore this pick, personally. But the decision is, of course, yours. Okay, let's take her for a spin. Okay, so I'm in the Uganda. It's a Tier 9 match-off. They've got a Jean Bart, a Baji, a Yuma Hari. That's scary. A Champagne. A Genesu, that's on my tier. An Ibuki, that's so not. A lot of Tier 9 in this match. A Gear. A Rochester. Harlem. That's Tier 8. Shores. Kagaru, which is Tier 8, and a U-190, which is also Tier 8, and I'm in my little Tier 7 Uganda, so I'm not feeling nervous at all. God. Right, I'm heading towards C, and you can see the first immediate problem. They have a U-190, but guess where he spawned? Yes, you guessed it right. He spawned, like in mirror mode, right opposite our U-190. In the opposite corner of the map. I pretty much guarantee it. So I won't be doing much sub-hunting. Maybe at the end of the match, if I'm lucky, if he moves to mid and I move to mid and we come together. But it'll be more luck than anything else. So, there's only one destroyer in this match as well. The problem with the advent of subs is I've noticed less destroyers in game. What this means is I'm probably going to end up having to cap for the team. Yes, you heard that right. My little Tier 7 made of paper ship is going to cap. God help me. Okay. We do have the crawling smoke. We've got the hydro. And I do have a Rook with me and the Allende. So there's that. Looks like the Minnesota's going to come over and join us. Please come over and join us, Minnesota. I could do with some firepower over here to look after me. I'm a little nervous. I'm definitely going to make use of these 12-kilometer torpedoes, though, because they reload relatively quickly. I mean, 90-odd seconds isn't terrible. I never really told you how fast this ship moves. It does almost 35 knots, about 34.9. Another thing I probably didn't mention, which I probably should have, is that her turning, or her rudder, is about almost 9 seconds, 8.6 seconds, so she's a little sluggish on the turn. I say that, she is a light cruiser. seconds is terrible. The rudder shift, it's usable. But bear in mind that you're crawling in smoke at quarter speed, and of course you lose maneuverability, so that is something to bear in mind. I'm going to try and get some fires on this Yumahari. God help me. I mean, he could literally dev strike me straight out of the match if he saw me. Unfortunately. Okay, so we've got some damage down on him. That was good. 12,980. Quite happy with that. No fires, however. 27 shots fired and no fires. I find that odd because in my previous matches I was getting a fire every 5 or 6 shots. Well, not really. Every 10 or so. So, fire's yet to arrive. Okay, fine. Now, as you can see, I'm pointing back towards my team because I might need to get out of here in a bit of a hurry. There's a Geneseo, Harlem, a Gear, and a Yumahari. And I'm the only guy on the cap. The Elend is moving out, the Rook is moving off to the flank, the Minnesota is coming in to support me. But he's still a good 10 kilometers from my position. So I'm thinking this is not the safest place to be. You really do have to use the minimap a lot when you're in a higher tier match with your tier 7 ship. If there's a lot of tier 9s and 8s about that are very capable of dev striking you, you really need to keep your wits about you at all times. And stay concealed is my main advice. And when you are not concealed, make sure they're shooting at someone else, not you. Thus speaks the voice of experience. Okay, the smoke's just run out. I really want to put some shots down on the Agir, but I'm holding off for now. He's right on the edge of my detection, and if I get detected, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, so I'm moving away. Try and stay out of detection range. Very important. I know we're not doing any damage, but we're staying alive. Those torps look good, however, don't they? I do like the torps. The torps are very usable. There you go. 2 hits on the Agir. And now I'm lit. Something's lit me. There's nothing in my detection radius that's visible. So I can only assume that that's a destroyer. So the Kagaru, the ghost ship, the Japanese torpedo boat, is nearby. So I'm turning bows on into the enemy and constantly changing course because I don't want to be hit. I'm then going to try, Gears behind the island so I can show broadside to him. I'm going to try and turn away. This is what I'm doing now. I'm turning away and there's the Kagaru, or Kagaru. There he is. Sneaky little git. Okay, so there are more ships here than I thought. Now, I really need to go dark again. Nobody's seems that interested in me at the moment, but I'm sure if I start a few fires, people will get interested in me. Let's try the Agir. Here we go. Okay, so I'm having a go at the Agir. Those are Kagaru torps. Should be able to avoid those. I believe I avoid these. I know I'm going to get hit by that one, aren't I? Yeah. Again, a bit slow on the old reflexes, and also the rudder kind of caught me off guard. Haven't had this ship long. I've only done about 5-6 matches in her. And I have to say, she is a bit of a slug when you're going slow. Takes a while to get up to full speed as well. Not like the Fiji. Okay, so try to avoid Japanese torpedoes is my best advice on that one. Anyway, I will continue to rain hell on the Geneseo now. And we get a fire. Second fire of the match. Okay. Only 10k health left, so I'm going to have to be cautious. Okay. I'm going to use this island. Island planes. Now I've noticed the Minnesota is coming up to this island. If I was a destroyer, I would probably want to torpedo the Minnesota, so I'm expecting to encounter their destroyer again. I'm going to try and get some fires on the Genesee. Okay, looks like he's about to go back behind the island, so we'll just shoot those there. And we get a fire. And down he goes. Okay. Alright. It's possible, if I remember rightly, I believe the Kangaroo is definitely wanted to take on the Minnesota, so I positioned myself just in case he decided to island ambush our American friend. And here he comes. Yeah, he's trying the old island ambush. Well, we're having none of that, sir. So let's deal with him. The guns are strong enough to deal with tier 8 opponents, especially if they're destroyers. I'm a little concerned at how close I am. He goes for the torpedo strike on the Minnesota and misses. Okay, good. Okay, so that's 2 ships sunk in a tier 9 match. Basically, it's all about map awareness and using your mini-map to the best of your ability, and maybe not staring at it too long, or you might get caught out by Kangaroo torpedoes like I did. If I'm honest, I was staring at the mini-map at that point, and maybe not looking where I was going. Although a slightly better rudder shift would be appreciated on a light cruiser, if I'm honest. She is a bit of a slug, in my defense. She is a bit. Guns are good, though. I like the guns. Crawling smoke's a cool thing as well. No sign of that sub though, right? Honestly, I tried so hard to get a sub match up in this ship. I managed to in the Hobart. You can read my Hobart review, and you can watch. Well, you can watch the Hobart vid, and you'll see that these ships are more than capable of taking down a submarine. Even if I'm not too impressed with the submarine surveillance consumable. The planes make up for it very, very well. We're trying to assist the Minnesota in getting the Harlem down. And we get a fire. That's a second fire on him. That's a perm fire, because I believe he put the first one out pretty much instantly. Okay. And there's the Rochester. And there's the Umahari. I'm hoping the Umahari isn't looking at me. I'm going to try some cheeky AP on the Rochester, and sure enough, there you go. There's a Citadel. However,
I need fire support. Problem solved, sir. All stations reporting the position of a
I've been hydroed by the Rochester. Uh-oh. Umahari's going to fire on me, isn't he? Yeah, I believe that's what happens next. Yep. And down I go. You see? Punching above her weight. 2 sinkings, 2 citadels. Over 90k damage. Not a bad match. And even though I was aware of all the risks and the dangers, I got a little too greedy. I was hoping to citadel the Rochester down. And then the Umahari got me. So try not to be as greedy as I was, and you'll stay in the match a little longer. However, I'm assuming our Minnesota, I'm pretty sure our Minnesota deals with the Rochester, which is great, because the Rochester is now on very low health. Thanks in part to my bravery. There goes the Harlem. Now the Minnesota is just turning to use his back guns, his rear guns, because he's aware that the Rochester is just behind that island and heading out. There he is. And there's those rears. And down goes the Rochester. I have been avenged by the Minnesota. So I'm going to definitely give him a +1. Or an equals exclamation mark. If only I could spell Minnesota. To say the adrenaline was running high is putting it lightly, to be honest with you. But I definitely going to give this guy a +1 because he was a great help. Even if he turned up a bit late to the party. So there you have it. We've now got about 12 seconds left in this match. Not a lot's happened really. They've got one ship left, the Jean Bart. And in 5 seconds time, we win. There you go. Not a bad map. Not a bad match. But it's loop again, isn't it? I've been on loop a lot this week. It's been driving me loopy, quite literally. Looping the loop. Being bonkers. So, that was Uganda. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. That was a pretty tough match. And I think she punched well above her weight. I mean, look at that. Second in the team, going to compliment the Asashio B, but we know that's a pretty easy ship to play. The Uganda is made of paper. Bear that in mind. And once again, thank you very much for watching.